growing brands who are using Klaviyo. We talk about what's working and what's not. Each week, you're going to get real life examples from the brands and advice on how to scale your business. We don't pay these guys. We simply reach out to them and say, hey, we love you. Do you want to come be a guest on the show? So it is very real, very uncut. And at the end, we love to jazz it up a little bit with a fun activity that usually results in some laughs and some new hobbies for you to learn. So with that, we've got a ton of questions, you guys. You all submitted them. You had the chance to submit a question whenever you registered. So I pulled the questions from there. You don't want me making up questions. I like to get them from you guys, the community. So we're gonna ask some of those questions, and then we're gonna do the activity at the end. So with that, we're gonna be chatting with the VP of e-commerce from Super Coffee, which, by the way, you guys, I tried Super Coffee and it is strong as hell. Like, you're not messing around with whatever ingredients you're putting in your coffee. I definitely had a jolt from it. So definitely, if you haven't tried it and you guys need a kick in the ass, you got to go get some Super Coffee. We also have joining us the director of CRM from the Lunar Solar Group, who is a partner of Super Coffee and helps supercharge their e-commerce marketing efforts. After the chat, we're making some coffee drinks. I literally just realized yesterday that they involve whiskey, so I'm even more excited about it. To finish up in pure live from your laptop fashion, we're doing a giveaway, and Super Coffee was so generous enough that they are going to give one lucky winner 100 free days of Super Coffee. Amazing. So we don't mess around here on Live from Your Laptop. So make sure you guys are paying attention during the chat, because at the end, we'll ask the question, and the first person to get it right in the chat wins the prize. All right, sounds good. Few reminders. Please make sure you're muted. And if you guys think of a question, we definitely want to make sure that you're being heard and everything like that. But we obviously only have about 55 minutes now. So I want to make sure that we can get through the show. So if you have a question, put it in the chat. If we have time, we'll get to it. If not, I want you guys to feel free to answer each other's questions in the chat. That's the beauty of kind of the community and coming together, is you guys can help each other out. So feel free to have a conversation in the chat. All right, let's get it going. I think that was like a record for me. I did that in less than 6 minutes. I'm going to turn it over to you, Gina, from the Lunar Solar Group, to kick us off with some introductions.
Hey guys, well, first off, that was so impressive. I don't think I could ever talk for that long without stumbling. So apologies to everyone who's about to hear me talk. I'm Gina. I'm one of the co-founders and the director of CRM at Lunar Solar Group. Typically I'm based in New York, but I'm out in Park City right now. When I'm not working, I love snowboarding, mountain biking, and making whiskey drinks.
So appropriate. All right, Ben, what's up? Tell us who you are.
Yep. Hey guys, this is Ben Knox. I'm the Vice President of E-commerce and Growth at Super Coffee. Been with the team since just last summer, working for brands Red Bull, Soylent before that, and leading e-com. I'm like Gina. I love the outdoors. I'm in the West Coast in Los Angeles and like to make great weekend trips for some hiking and climbing and things like that all the time.
Love it. And what a year to do it. I mean, get outside, get the fresh air. Obviously, if you're in the mountains, it's a little bit better. But good. Glad to have you guys on the show. So Ben, I'm going to stick with you. I want to hear how Super Coffee got started. I understand that the company has some pretty notable investors, such as NBA All-Star Baron Davis, among athletes like Aaron Rodgers, and I think J-Lo. I just saw a post about J-Lo and A-Rod, like, hello. Tell us about the brand, and why did you guys decide to partner with these A players, and how did that happen, really?
Absolutely. So yeah, for some of you, those of you who don't know, maybe you didn't see our Shark Tank episode in 2018 that really kind of took the brand to the next level. But Super Coffee was founded about 5 years ago by three brothers, Jordan, Jake, and Jim DeSico. And they were all student athletes, D1 college athletes in football and basketball. And Jordan was really kind of looking for that energy boost, but really didn't like the ingredients and things like that were in energy drinks. Didn't like all the sugar that was in, Starbucks drinks that he loved the taste of, but wasn't doing the right things for him on the performance side. So he concocted the first Super Coffee formula in his dorm room, convinced his other two brothers to either drop out of college or quit their first jobs out of college and start the brand from nowhere and bootstrap it and get in their Whole Foods, first Whole Foods. So it was really just a bunch of hustle from day one and a lot of learnings. And here we are 5 years later. And Super Coffee is partnered, yeah, like you mentioned, with the likes of Baron Davis and Aaron Rodgers. J-Lo and A-Rod are partners and investors of ours. And it really comes down to, in a sense, one sense, branding and association, aligning yourself with others who have audiences, but are also aligned with your beliefs and your mission. And our mission is to create positive change in other people's lives. And we do that through healthier coffee products that give great energy. So it's really simple. Honestly, these guys, they found us and they wanted to invest. And how could we say no? Because they really are superstars. So very thankful for their partnership.
That's awesome. That's amazing, you guys. That's a really great story. And yeah, I think partnering with having people and I think you're going to talk about a little bit of culture in a little bit, but having the right people really say your brand's name and promote your brand is very important, that it aligns. And who better than athletes? I mean, the boys were athletes, so it's that natural synergy. So cool.
That's right.
All right, I'm going over to you, Gina. Tell us about the agency. What services you guys offer? How did you partner? How did that partnership begin with Super Coffee? And wow, this is like a lot of questions in one question.
You might have to remind me.
Terrible at that. All right, let's start with this. Tell us about Lunar Solar Group real quick, what you guys do, and then we'll talk about how you guys got involved with Super Coffee.
Cool. Lunar Solar is an e-commerce advisory firm. What that basically means is that we focus on all things customer acquisition and retention for consumer brands. We've got 3 distinct service groups. So Red Giant, which is media buying and lifecycle marketing. That's where I sit. Then we have our performance creative studio, which is satellite. So they'll do everything from shooting your product photography, lifestyle photography with influencers, things like that. And then we have Space Race, which is our dev shop.
Wow, that's a lot. Tell me about that third thing.
So our dev shop, so they'll do anything from building out websites from scratch, or we'll have clients that will do email and ads with us where they just need someone to support their landing pages and like spin up some new landing pages, and Space Race can step in and do that.
Perfect. Cool. Awesome. All right. So how did you guys partner up with Super Coffee, and what was like one of the main challenges they came to you with that you helped them solve?
Yeah. So we don't have a sales and biz dev team. The way that all of our clients that we actively have right now is through word of mouth. So for Super Coffee, one of their investors who we had worked with on some other brands actually came to us and made the introduction there. We've been working with Super Coffee over 2 years now. And when we first were introduced, one of the biggest things was that they were looking at some like pretty aggressive growth goals over the first year. So a 10x monthly e-commerce revenue growth from when we were starting the partnership to the end of the first year. So that was, challenging, as I'm sure you can imagine. When a brand goes through that sort of growth, it's really like all hands on deck. And as the agency partner, we had to be really flexible. And that meant like cycling in different services based on how the business needs were changing. So email, I think, was the first thing that we started with. And then as there was a need, ads, website support, things like that.
Awesome. That's awesome. So going back over to you, Ben, you guys obviously just in this like 12 minutes alone, we've heard the immense amount of growth that you guys have had. You started out in retail, you outsold Starbucks drinks in the coolers. Then you talked about Shark Tank. The brothers didn't actually take a deal on Shark Tank. It was just they got recognized from Shark Tank. And at the time, you guys had 7 employees. Fast forward 5 years later, you have an e-commerce model that 10x revenue over the last 3 years. I think when we were promoting this, we said 3x. We were definitely wrong. You guys setting the record straight, everybody. They 10x their revenue over the last 3 years. And the company has 100 employees now. And a recent Forbes article says that you're on track to reach $100 million by the end of 2021. How are you doing this? So one of the questions from the community was every small business has limited resources, marketing resources. In order to achieve what you guys did, what were the top 3 marketing priorities that moved the needle, and how much did you spend on each of them? Oh, Ben, you're on mute. There you
Classic. Awesome. I love that.
That always happens.
That's a really great question, Morgan. And I think first and foremost, to set the stage, it's like Gina mentioned, you know, when you're going through growth cycles like that, it's really important to remain super flexible. You can have a hypothesis or an intent around allocation of budget or resources, but every brand is different. Every consumer group is different. So it's really important to be able to be flexible and respond to the feedback that you're getting, and then doubling down or pulling back as appropriate. So second to that, I think it's really important to understand the context that Super Coffee is in. And, you know, the majority of bottled coffee in the United States is sold in retail stores. And that's really no different from our brand. I think what's been great about our brand is that we have been able to scale and grow our online business just as quickly as we have our retail business. So we're in over 25,000 stores across the United States now, stores like Walmart, Kroger, Target, 7-Eleven, CVS, Whole Foods. And that's really, really exciting. And what's been a key differentiator in driving that success in store, which has also helped us online, was our investment in people in the field. And we like to say that our people are our barrier to entry. And so what we do with our people in the field is we make an impact in store, and we make an impact on the lives of the people who are managing those stores, who are making the merchandising decisions. So if some of you follow us more closely, or maybe you've seen in stores for yourselves, you'll walk into a Kroger or Ralph's and there will be like a tower of Super Coffee just smacking you in the face. And because of that execution, because of that local level of support, it's impossible for people in that market to not know about Super Coffee for the first time. And so irrespective of everything else or anything else that we do, we will say that retail and our execution in store and at the local level is sort of our core differentiator, and what has driven our ability to stand out amongst the likes of Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts and things like that. And I think on the back of that, even today, we're still seeing that 30% of our new customers on exit intent are learning about us for the first time in the retail store. So almost no matter how much we can spend in paid social or other paid advertising channels, still we're really right around 30% of new customers are coming to us from retail. So for us, that is a really, really important part of our mix. And now, of course, I think, you know, as the pandemic has come, again, adapting, responding to things, it's eliminated some of our capability to do those special things in store, demo the product, give people taste tests and things like that. Totally understandable. Everybody's under that same context. And so we have shifted a bit more into digital execution, our paid and organic social channels and things like that. But relative to paid acquisition for online, you know, the lion's share of our investment on the paid side is going into Facebook. We'll talk about a bit later why we prefer that not to be the case, and maybe thinking through some of the future challenges relative to depending on that. But what's really important relative to paid social and all of the investment there is to not forget about people if they don't convert on that first session, right? So whether that's working them back through the paid social funnel on retargeting, but also making sure we have a really healthy and robust way and lead gen to capture them, and then re-communicate with them through free channels like Klaviyo, email, as well as some of our SMS programming.
Yeah, and I know we're going to get into that too in a little bit with how you're kind of converting those people through SMS and different email and paid channels. So last year, you guys were recognized by Inc. 5000's fastest growing companies in 2020. You were number 18 on the list. That is an amazing accomplishment. I think a lot of people some people downplay it, but like it's really big deal to get on that list. So when it comes to building a brand name and getting your company recognized like that, what's one key thing that brands listening in today should be focusing on?
Yeah, I think some of it draws back to what I was just mentioning about us saying that our people, our team, and our culture is our barrier to entry. And we have a really special company culture. And on all of our bottles and all of our products, it says positive energy, super coffee, choose positive energy, drink positive energy. And that cascades all the way through every employee at the company, how we interact with others, whether it's in a local grocery store or with our agency partners or anybody that we're working with, top to bottom. And so when you're able to create a culture that really stands for something like that, it just bleeds right out of you. And I think it affects all those little touch points that over time just kind of bubble up and create the kind of results that you always imagine were possible. But there's really never any silver bullet. You just got to be about it. And I think focus on culture and who you're trying to represent in the world, what you're trying to do for consumers, and the results will follow.
Right. And having talking about culture, like making sure that all of your staff and your employees, like they're constantly repping their company, Super Coffee, t-shirts,
That's
social
right.
posts. They're constantly on board with you guys. And that's really just generating that buzz for someone that works at Inc. 5000 to be like, hey, who's Super Coffee? And then there you go. They look into you guys and there you go. So that's a really good point, is to not forget about your employees and your staff and your advocates. I want to show something that actually will close out this question really well, because last year we had Gravity Blankets on, and if you were tuning into that episode, Maya said the secret to generating a bunch of revenue through email is to not actually put like products and sell products, push selling in your email, is to the content and thanking them and being a little bit more like empathetic, right? So I was looking in your guys' account, and when you hit the Inc. 5000 list, the brothers, Kels, do you want to throw up that email for us so that people can see what we're talking about? Slide 6. Thank you. This is an example out of their Klaviyo account, you guys. The brothers, I'm sure the brothers helped in putting this together, but this was like you, Gina, right? This was your team throwing this together. But it literally just thanks people. And it does offer a very small discount, 18%. But this was your highest revenue generating campaign in Klaviyo to date. I'm not going to say the number, but it was high. So this is just an example, you guys. Like, do both of you want to speak to this? Like, what the strategy, did you intend on getting a ton of sales from this? Or was it really just, hey, thanks, this is because of you guys?
Yeah, I mean, this was like, well, first off, I'm so hyped on this campaign. This like was a highlight of our year when we kind of like look back, obviously like being the highest revenue. But when I think about like how this kind of went down, I think like being super flexible and just like having open communication like between the agency and the brand is so important, because like this, like there's not a lot of time from when it actually like came out to like, okay, we need to get an email out the door. Right. And just being like, okay, like we'll just send a plain text email, like from the brothers, like a thank you, like, should there be a discount? Like, yeah, okay, like, let's go, like, let's do a small discount, 18, that makes sense. And I think like it just, when you're thinking about using their personalities in any type of branding, for it to come off as genuine, like it has to be a note like this. Like we don't use their personalities, and we don't like have notes come from them every week, but when it's something this big, and this kind of news, this I think was just like the right message, the right tone, the right time, and their audience absolutely loved it. And I think they wanted to like share in this success and be a part of this moment.
Yeah, making them feel like they were part of it too. That's incredible. That's really super cool, you guys. Thank you for allowing us to share that with everybody. All right, so next question. We talked pretty high level about growing the business, right? But let's break it down, like, and look at some of the ways you guys actually did this. And a lot of the questions that came in from the community were about acquisition, right? Everybody wants to know how to get new customers. Like that's going to build your brand. So let's talk a little about your top of the funnel strategy and some of the methods you guys have seen work, and some that maybe haven't been so successful. So I don't know who wants to start, but like maybe we start with like, what's your best converting channel, and how do you really allocate, your time, resources, efforts there, to, really what's your average conversion rate?
Yeah, totally. happy to take it. And Gina, cut me off and jump in with anything, of course, please. I think there's a distinction of like most converting versus best converting, right? And as mentioned previously, we do source the majority of our new customers from paid social. So, but that doesn't necessarily mean that paid social has the best conversion rate or necessarily the best return on investment per se, sort of like keeping all else equal. But it is where we are finding a lot of our new customers. We are starting to invest in diversifying that. So whether that's organic content marketing channels or even thinking through other paid channels like podcasts, for example, or email, newsletter sponsorships, other avenues like that from a paid perspective or organic perspective to kind of diversify our approach. But really through any of those levers or any of those paid channels, like I mentioned before, like all roads lead to email and SMS. And kind of as you squeeze down and get closer, to the bottom of your funnel and then through the funnel, obviously, conversion goes through the roof depending on, who you're speaking to and what their past behaviors have been.
Right. Gina, do you have anything to add on that?
No, I mean, I think he kind of nailed it there, but yeah, definitely like funneling everyone into those email and SMS flows just kind of helps with closing the loop on those conversions.
So paid social, but you're looking at other, because it's like with paid social, it's so different every day. The rates are always different. It's getting more expensive. It's getting more competitive. So to your point, Ben, I like that you guys are looking into like podcasting, user-generated content, sponsored newsletters, stuff like that. So all really, really good ideas. As far as like kind of the promotion to draw people in, are you guys very discount heavy? Are you more like product launches, like surprise product launch? Are you flash sale? Like, what does that look like? Like, what's your, I guess, your philosophy on that? What do you guys do?
Yeah, there's a really good mix there. And again, I think we try to segment our offers depending on where the audience is and what they might be most prone to responding to. But I think, one thing in our evolution, we have worked to drive our average discount rate down. And so we're looking to convert people more on our merits than on a great price point. And part and parcel to that is when we are discounting, we're looking to discount based on a performance given to us by that consumer. So buying 2 packs, getting a discount, but if you want to buy 1 pack, it's full price. Things like that. So if they demonstrate a commitment or a higher kind of intent signal for long-term loyalty, we're willing to give that back to them and price off because it's going to come back in spades over time.
That makes total sense. As far as like email cadence, sorry. Oh, go ahead. Oh, Gina, were you going to say something?
That wasn't me.
Okay, well, that's okay. Make sure you're on mute, you guys. As far as like email cadence, let's talk about this. Someone finds you on social, you drive them to your website, and there's a form there, right? Where you're collecting email and phone or cell phone number. What does it look like from there? And we're going to go through, I think in our next question, we're going to go through a flow that you guys have, but what from an email cadence perspective, like, am I getting put into a flow? Am I also getting hit with campaigns? Like, how do you guys usually, I guess, like organize how much communication is going to a new person on your site?
Yeah, absolutely. That pop-up that you get hit with now, if anybody has recently gone to the Super Coffee site, we tested so many different pieces of creative. Like we went through so many different A/B testing, different images, different this, different that. When we like landed on that pop-up of just, it's like, I don't know if you've seen it recently, but it's black and white, like plain text. It just like asks for your name, gives an offer, and then asks you to choose, like, are you a coffee, espresso, or like pod drinker? It has one of the highest performances just even on the agency side of any pop-up that we've run ever. So that, like, I think is just like huge, kind of like unlocking that. I won't give what the actual percentage is, but I will say was almost 100% increase from some of like the more traditional creative or like flashy creative with GIFs and things like that we were using in the past. So kind of like hitting that and like locking that in, it's just continued to perform really well, has been great, because obviously the more people that land on your site that you can get through your pop-up into your welcome, like just bumps up everything. Once you go into the welcome series, another thing that we tested a lot between image-based, plain text, things like that, is the cadence and just the type of messages that you're getting, what that offer looks like, what type of education we want to get to people. Right now, like we're hitting people, right when they fill out the pop-up, and then I think like another 2 days. In terms of if we're suppressing people from campaigns while they're in that welcome series, most of the time, yes. But like we always think about when we're sending a campaign, like would somebody who just got the welcome email want to receive this information? Right. So there's a lot of hype around like when we're going to launch a new product or something like that. So like what I wouldn't want to happen is somebody to see an ad that like something is like coming soon where we're teasing it, and then they come in, they join the email list, and then they don't get the launch of a sale or a product because of that suppression. So we use it when it makes sense and we pull it when it doesn't.
Yeah. Now that form that you use, super simple. I've seen it because I've been on the website. That's being generated out of Klaviyo, right?
Yes.
Yes. So someone asked in the chat. So definitely Klaviyo is servicing that pop-up. And we actually, in December, we had the Klaviyo holiday show. I don't know if anybody tuned in, but we had actually almost 8,000 tune in. So we had a top 10 forms, and a lot of the forms that we saw that generated the most submissions in Klaviyo over 2020 were so simple. It's like reverse psychology in a way. It's like just so simple. It was literally a white box with black text, and that was it. And it was like email and then like phone number. They weren't asking a ton of questions, because you can eventually get that additional data from, as long as you get their email, then you can start sending them flows to get additional data from them, what they're purchasing, all of that in Klaviyo. So yeah, the form comes out of Klaviyo. Let's talk about SMS. So I know you guys aren't using Klaviyo. I definitely did my due diligence and checked that before this episode. But let's talk about SMS, because I do think that it's important, and eventually you guys will come over to Klaviyo for SMS, and just throwing it out there. But let's talk about because I know that you do have a very strong community with SMS, and Allie, your customer success manager, she loves your witty text messages that you do. So tell me about SMS and using Klaviyo or PostScripts or whatever you're using. What's the strategy there? Like, how can you really engage new people to come and buy your product?
Yeah, I'm so like proud of the SMS program at Super Coffee. Like, I think it just, having seen it go from literally 0 subscribers to what it is today has been incredible over the last 2 years. And just like, I remember like when we first were talking about it, SMS like 2 years ago, like people were doing it, but it was still kind of new. And we were like, like, we don't want it to be just like the emails. How do we like change the tone, but like it's still the messaging there. So what we started to do, was convert off the email list and, offer people some type of incentive to join the SMS list. So like when if you're on the email list and then you signed up for SMS, you got, I think like a 20 or 25% discount on your next order. And then when we thought about just the strategy behind SMS, we really wanted to create like an exclusive community. So I think a lot of brands lead with like heavy rewards programs and loyalty and stuff like that. But like we were looking to really build a community where it felt personal. There are, of course, like some texts that do come like from the brand, but then there are different texts that come from different personalities. So like here you'll see like a text message will come from like Jimmy or like Jordan, and like they each have their own tone and their own role in the company. So as we're thinking about like product launches and things like that, it's been really fun to be like, okay, like, how would you say this? Or like, how would you excite people and like have their tones talking to the audience there. And the customers and everybody on SMS, even the replies that you see come in, they really like it. And just the conversions, like from a revenue standpoint, like have been great. I think some of the stuff we do there is a bit different from email. So it's not that we will share one promotion on one and not on the other channel, but we have promised the SMS database that they get early access. So if a sale's launching or a new product, it typically will drop 12 to 24 hours first on SMS.
That's awesome. That's really cool. I think that it's, as marketers, we're smart enough to know, like, no, this message isn't coming from, you know, one of the brothers, but like as consumers, like they really feel like they're being talked to from the brand itself, like from the owner. And I think that that's something really special. It makes them feel like they're bought in a way. Cool. Well, we'll eventually get you guys over to Klaviyo's SMS because we have a very special announcement coming in February that everyone should be tuning in for. I'm not going to give too many details about that, but just putting it out there. So last kind of follow up to this question, and then I want to move into the retention side of things and show some of the flows that you guys are doing. Amazon versus direct to consumer. So I was poking around in your account, and Klaviyo, like, we believe in this thing called own marketing, right? Like, we really believe that you can own your marketing. You know, we're not against Amazons, we're not against Walmarts, you know, they're doing great things, but they tend to take a lot of money from companies, and you don't really own your customer fully like you could if you had them on your website and you were gathering their data through a system like Klaviyo or whatever you're using. So I saw this email. Kelsey, let's throw this up, and I want you guys to talk about it because I think there is a very, very good point here. I'm sure that someone from Klaviyo is like, Morgan, why are you promoting Amazon? I'm not promoting Amazon. There is a point to this, and I'm very intrigued. I was very intrigued by this email, and I wanted to know why, and the why is really good. So Kelsey, let's throw up the Amazon email, and let's have you guys talk about this. Kelsey, are you there? There she goes. Okay. All right. So do you guys want to give a quick breakdown of what this is? I want to know what the strategy is and then what you learned after.
Gina, you want to take it away, and then I can cover off with some of the higher order strategy around Amazon?
Yeah, sure. So this email here, sorry, I'm just recapping on this one. I think when Super Coffee was much younger, like, keep in mind, I've been working with the brand for 2 years now. It was much more important to push owned. And really, I think even when the thought of this email came up and Ben and I, and really the rest of the team were chatting, I was like, there's always a part of me that's like, are we sure? Like, are we sure we want to mention Amazon? Like, okay, I don't love it. Because the email, like, to me, like, I won't see that revenue that comes through on Amazon. Like, the email program, like, won't get the credit for it. So I was like, okay, but it is true. And Ben, you know, has been great. And I think, like, we definitely see the bigger picture here. And when brands are super young, having all of your data, it's important. I think the stage that Super Coffee's at right now, like, at the end of the day, we want to get cans in hand, and we want the customer to get it however is easiest for them. And if you buy from us and you buy from our website and you're in the email list, and it's just simpler for you to check out on Amazon, like, we're at a point where we're good with that. And, like, we just want you to get the product the best way. So that's why we gave the option here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's really a perfect answer and sums it all up. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think at a certain level of scale and maybe with a certain type of intent behind a brand and where a brand typically or traditionally plays, where consumers are expecting to be able to purchase and access a brand that they love, we are really in an omni-channel world. And so it's really important for us as Super Coffee to have that perfect availability, like Gina mentioned. And, you know, it's definitely, but like Gina mentioned, there are just some shoppers, some consumers that won't buy from a website. They are incredibly loyal to Amazon, or they are incredibly loyal to their local Walmart store. And so it's important to be there. And again, the only other context that I'll add to kind of the scale issue is there's a reason that, you know, Casper, who years ago mentioned that they would never sell anything beyond their own website. Casper has stores. Casper sells in mattress shops. They're on Amazon. It's just once you get to a certain scale, the only way to continue growing at the pace that you desire or that your investors require is to access incremental volume through these other channels.
Yeah, really good point. And I'm looking at the chat. Elise, she said, Amazon may not be cheaper. And I think what you guys do is you actually offer the best price on your direct website, and you only sell certain products on Amazon. So the majority of it is coming from your website. And dare I ask, from that campaign, where you got the most sales from?
I think then it was, I look back at the data, it was Shopify. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shopify.
Okay, great.
Yep.
So there you go. The winner, Shopify email. Awesome. Direct website. Love it. Thank you for letting us share that, you guys. I just think that was really cool. And I was very intrigued by that. All right. We need to keep going. It's 4:40. I want to make sure we get our coffee, whiskey drinks in there. So on the flip side of acquisition, you guys have a pretty big following of super fans and influencers. What's the secret sauce besides a good product? I mean, we heard about your culture, really breathing, what Super Coffee is all about, but what's keeping them coming back and being advocates for the brand? If you want to talk high level at this, and then we can go into, I want to show a flow that's one of your highest your best performing flows in Klaviyo. It's your welcome and then your replenishment flow, or your post-purchase and your replenishment flow. So Kelsey, I'm going to have you throw it up, but can you guys just kind of give us the secret sauce besides a good product? What are you doing? Coming back.
Another one, like, I guess I can't stress enough, like it's important to test these things. I feel like we've changed the creative here like quite a few times. The email up on the screen is actually the second email in this flow. The first email only triggers to people who are not active SMS subscribers. I don't know if you guys have that one.
Yeah, Kelsey, flip to slide 8, please.
Sorry to throw.
1 second, let me get to it.
But basically, the first email, which you'll see in a second, goes over, or it triggers to people after they've made a purchase, and it offers a discount, but when they sign up to SMS. So we do have a filter on this. It will not fire to anybody who is an active SMS subscriber. But what we found is just that second, like once somebody has bought once, getting them to buy again and again, the conversion rates are just way higher for somebody who's on email and SMS as opposed to just email. So we think it's really important to get as many of these people in our SMS list as possible. So we have this one, which fires right away, or sorry, it fires after 3 days and offers them a discount for the next time they're restocking. Odds are people are not restocking immediately because they did just buy, but we do see decent revenue off this. So whether it be like somebody's order coming in, them realizing they love the product and then wanting to try something else, or just truly like coming and buying one thing and then stocking up, we've seen this to be really successful.
Yeah, Kels, can you go back? So we had them flip. So to slide 7. Yep. Perfect. So you guys will see the flow, placed an order. They wait 3 days. They send that email, the SMS, always on your phone. That's the first trigger after 3 days. And then you wait 22 days, and then this is what they get. So you're trying to get them to subscribe and do like automatic subscription with you guys.
Yep. This email actually too has like a really cute GIF on the low. It's like one of my
low
things. Yeah, it's like low and it like.
I didn't know how to save it. I'm so technically not. I'm just very technically challenged. I didn't know how to save that for this. So
well,
you guys
fine. Everybody watching will just have to go buy some coffee, and then 25 days later they'll see it in real life.
Exactly.
But what we're doing here is like, we looked at repurchase rates and like when the best time to hit them was. And at 25 days, we tested a couple different cadences. This is what's proven to be the most successful for us. So we have this email firing, and at this point, like somebody's bought already once, we want to show them like, hey, if you want to get a discount, especially if somebody, so keep in mind, if someone came in and they were subscribed to SMS, they wouldn't have gotten that first email. So this might be the first communication they get in terms of a post-purchase and replenishment. So it's just like reminding them like, hey, if you want to get the best offer, you should just join subscription.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing here.
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, you guys have great numbers here. So that's awesome. So I guess high level, one of the questions from the community was like, what's on your roadmap for 2021? And I think like, we need to look back at the data. You know, I would imagine as a business owner, you want to look back, and even as a marketer, you want to look back at the data from last year to really make informative decisions for your up and coming year or years. And like, you can't just think last year, oh, you know, that was that, and we're going to go back to normal this year. Like, last year really changed the game for so many businesses that it's not just about adjusting marketing strategy anymore. It's like, this is more of an overall impact. So I want to hear from you guys, like, what are 1 or 2 key items you looked at from last year that has really helped determine your roadmap for this year? You know, what are you using in your tech stack to help analyze that data? I know Klaviyo has a ton of data, benchmarks, custom reporting, you know, and from those learnings, what are you guys doing? What's coming up? What's coming down the path this year for you guys?
Yeah, I'll jump in with a couple things and then let Gina wrap us up. But for us, I think really for the first time this year, we started looking deep into our customer cohorts, where we're acquiring customers, what time of year they came in on, what products, what product combinations, things like that, and really getting at a deeper level and understanding, you know, what factors were leading to a higher lifetime value. And so using that as an input and focusing our offers, focusing our acquisition strategy has been really helpful in paving the way for how we're behaving this year. And then in addition to that, I think something really helpful and a reframe around acquisition, especially around paid, is understanding those times of year or those factors that lead to higher CPMs or higher CPAs or both, and understanding and kind of shifting our media strategy to kind of dodge those moments. And a lot of that comes from expectation setting and budgeting and forecasting, but being really kind of thoughtful and logical about how we're approaching our business plan.
Yeah, awesome. Gina, anything to add to that?
I mean, I think like that's pretty well said in terms of like the question. I think just like from a tech stack perspective, somebody like you might have realized as we were just looking at the post-purchase flow that we had chosen the Cadence there instead of using predictive analytics. We have been using predictive analytics across a couple other flows for other clients, really kind of loving it. And now that we're like pretty confident, we are going to be rolling that out for Super Coffee in Q1. So
yeah,
let's go.
Let's do it. Predictive analytics. Let's go. Yeah. Predictive analytics in Klaviyo is pretty awesome. I like our data science team. I'm like, that's some crazy stuff that you guys are conjuring up over there and putting in Klaviyo to help these businesses. So super cool stuff. If you guys aren't using predictive analytics, we can send a couple of resources after this to let you know about how to use that in Klaviyo. But definitely really awesome stuff there. Okay, last question, and then we're gonna make our coffee drinks. We're gonna do the giveaway, and then we're gonna say our goodbyes. I guess maybe both of you can kind of talk about this. You know, what has, and this is from the community, what has been your biggest pain point in scaling the business? I think a lot of times you reach like a growth spurt, and then it's like, it's so different. Like, how do you keep growing? A lot of brands get stuck at that one mark, right? So what has been the biggest pain point, and what have you done to try to solve it?
Yeah, I think continuously reinventing the wheel to kind of break through those new ceilings on acquisition. Because, you know, any e-commerce owner or operator here knows that, you know, the business is driven by new customers, and your ability to scale is completely contingent upon filling that top of funnel, filling new customers into the system. Of course, then you can start really building a healthy base of repeats and subscribers and things like that pay the bills, that really kind of help you do what you do. But at the end of the day, it's new customers, especially as you really want to escalate and scale. So that's been, you know, a main challenge is continuously reinventing how we kind of hit that scale, get that new customer count, while keeping, you know, customer acquisition cost and CPA within a reasonable range, and satisfying our objectives that way.
Yeah, that's awesome. Anything to add, Gina? You good?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like I would just say like for us, like, yeah, like new customers are super important. So I was saying before, like sign up forms, I think it's really easy to overlook pop-ups and just think like, oh, we have a pop-up, or like, oh, something's running. Like Klaviyo rolled out like the A/B testing on pop-ups. I think that might be what we as an agency have been using and testing more than anything else, because if you're not getting people in the database, it doesn't really matter what's happening in the welcome flow if like people aren't getting there.
Yeah.
So like, I think that's like the number one learning from this year is like really just like getting people into your email database, like is number one. And like that you have to prioritize that before you build like super segmented flows everywhere else.
Yeah, that's really great advice. Awesome. Well, amazing insights from you guys. Thank you so much for being so open and sharing all this knowledge with us. There were definitely some key takeaways there, which we recorded this. So if y'all didn't take notes, no worries. We'll send it to you. You can kind of watch the replay. But super congrats to you guys. We are very excited to see your continued growth. So don't leave anybody yet. I see the number dwindling down. Nobody leave yet because we still got 10 more minutes of some fun stuff. But before we go and before we do the super coffee drinks and do the giveaway prize, I'd love to understand how you guys like the show today and if you would recommend this to others. So I'm going to put up a poll. It is anonymous. Don't worry. But take a minute to fill this out. While we're doing this, I'm going to move into the kitchen. And if you're at home making coffee drinks with us, get to where you need to go. And then Gina, I think let's make the Cowboy Coffee. I think that's the one that I saw, that the Cowboy Coffee. We can make that in like 5 minutes.
That one is like 2 ingredients. Very simple. I like that one.
Well, if we have time, we'll do the youngest brother one. All right.
Perfect.
I'm gonna I'm moving to the kitchen, you guys.
I'm flipping you guys around and grabbing ice.
All right. So Gina, why don't you? Yeah. So Kelsey, we have up on the screen for ingredients. So if you guys, we need the super coffee cold brew. If you got that, great. If you didn't, any cold brew will work. Whiskey, ice, shaker, glass. Sounds pretty easy. And I am going to end this poll. Thank you for everybody that voted. All right, and whenever you're ready, Gina, like let's make some coffee drinks, I guess. I got to get set up here.
Awesome.
And then for those that are just following along, you can obviously, if you don't have the ingredients now, we can send this to you. All right, this is, I think I would get a better setup in here, but.
Can we throw the what we need on the screen?
Yeah, Kels, can you throw up on the screen what we need? Perfect.
Cool. All right, super coffee cold brew. We got that. We need whiskey.
Is this what it looks like? I think I got the right kind.
See, yep, you got it.
I got my whiskey, that's for sure.
Awesome. I'm gonna be using some High West. If anybody is out in Park City, this is what you have to try. If you're a whiskey drinker. Ice, I got shaker, glass, and then sweetener of choice. I'm not a big like sugar person, so I don't really sweeten any of my stuff. So I'm just gonna go whiskey and coffee.
There you go. Where is super coffee made, you guys? New York. Distributed by New York, right? In New York?
It's made all across the country. So
Okay.
we have bottled super coffees, canned super espressos, coffee grounds, pods, creamers. So if you can imagine, there's no one place that can do all of those things. So we have a pretty distributed supply chain.
And for brands that, or for people that are watching that maybe haven't tried super coffee, what's its claim to fame? Like, why is it so super?
Super coffee is, we call enhanced coffee products. So we like to say that we've removed the negatives and added the positives. And if you think about our kind of flagship or hero product, our bottled super coffees, we promise kind of all of the taste, decadence, and indulgence of a Frappuccino, but with none of the sugar. So a grande Frappuccino from Starbucks, or really, many of the Starbucks drinks that you can enjoy today, have, let's say, 50 grams of sugar and approaching 500 calories from the cafe. We have 80 calories per bottle. We have 10 grams of added high quality protein and 0 grams of added sugar, and actually less than 1 gram of sugar total. So really all the pleasure, none of the guilt, and great energy that's combined with all of that.
That's awesome. And Sarah, or I think it's Sarah, is asking, what kind of coffee beans do you use?
It does vary by product. I am not an ingredient expert, but we do use some Colombian coffees, I believe some Guatemalan coffees, but largely, I think, Central and South America.
Okay, cool. All right, Gina, so we have what, 1 ounce of super cold brew.
Yes, I kind of like, I don't know if anybody was watching me try to shake the thing. That was like my biggest concern as I was shaking the shaker, that it's going to explode on me. But yeah, this drink's super easy. So you've got your full bottle of cold brew and then just a 1/2 ounce pour of the whiskey.
Yep.
Throw it in your shaker.
I added a little too much whiskey, so I'm going to add a little bit more coffee. I mean, I can't even believe that. I'm going to take a sip of this because there's no way I'm going to sleep tonight if I drink this drink. So, okay, ice, shaker, glass, sweetener. I'm going to skip the sweetener, and then we shake it, and I want to give it a try. Hopefully we're not the only ones doing this. I hope everybody else is tuning.
I know. I was like shaking it in front of the screen. And I was like, this is probably like not very cute. Like I'm hoping that other people are doing this process while I'm shaking the bottle.
Can't find my, oh, here it is here. So I used to be a bartender way back in the day. So I got the perfect shake here.
Oh yeah, you have the method down. I got to learn that.
All right, I'm going to get a straw. Let's give it a whirl.
Cheers.
Cheers, you guys. Super good. Okay, so I don't know. We might have time to make the second one. And this one uses super espresso, and it uses vanilla or coffee liqueur, rum or whiskey. Oh, someone's saying that they like the canned espresso. The caramel is fantastic. I'll have to try that next time. This calls for Coke. I've never put. That is a lot of caffeine, you guys. I mean, that is to a point somewhat dangerous. Ice, shaker, and glass. Okay, let's do it. I don't have Coke, but I can at least do the other ingredients. I never do the giveaway.
But I feel like I don't typically put Coke in my espressos, so we're gonna just go a little rogue with this one.
Okay. When in doubt, improvise, right?
I like the comment from Valerie.
That is so funny. That is very true. They were actually featured on the Forbes 30 under 30 as well. So you guys are just blowing up the Forbes, the Inks, all of it. All right. Let's start.
There's an ounce of super espresso. So I've got super espresso. Looks like this. You can also use some of the other flavored espressos, like if you love the vanilla, or what was someone saying they love, or the caramel.
The caramel, yeah.
Those are great. We used to keep.
Actually came out with creamers, right? I thought I saw the creamers that are new. Did you launch those at Christmas?
We launched some seasonal flavors, maple pumpkin in the fall, and then a gingerbread eggnog around the Christmas holiday or the winter holiday. Apologies.
Yeah. I'm looking in the chat. Hey, Will. Will is from Death Wish Coffee. So we had them on Live from Your Laptop last year. So you got some fellow coffee community mates tuning in. All right, cool. So let me mix up this. I'm not adding Coke because I don't drink soda.
Oh, but you poured it so fast. I'm not there. I did super espresso. I gotta go.
Gotta be quick when you're a bartender. Gotta make that money.
Jeez, you can tell who is the bartender and who wasn't.
Well, I only added liquor and I don't have the espresso, so I just did the cool, again, improvising, but it all tastes amazing. So you guys have the cans, you have the bottles, you have the creamer. Do you guys sell like swag or anything? Have you gotten into swag or anything like that? Like
we do have a bunch.
Nice.
We have swag to date. I think swag's something that we've been hooking people up with, but not necessarily commercializing.
Yeah.
But we might be launching a more robust swag store in the future. Can't promise.
All right. So Gina's shaking this up. We'll give one last cheers, and then we're going to do the giveaway question. And then I have just like one or two closing remarks, and then we should be right on time. You're getting better with that shake, Gina. It's looking a lot better there.
I didn't do Coke, but I just like did a last dash of espresso. So this was gonna.
So this is kind of like an espresso martini in a way.
That's how I pictured it.
Okay.
Okay, this is a massive martini glass, by the way. If this was filled, we'd really be having a hard time.
Cheers, y'all. Pretty good. Pretty good. That's going to be my new 5 o'clock drink every day. Cool. All right, you guys. Well, honestly, like this has been so much fun. We're giving away Super Coffee. If you weren't listening in the beginning, Super Coffee is giving away 100 free days of Super Coffee. So get your fingers ready on the keyboard. Are you ready? Is everybody ready? All right. Here's the question. What number ranking did they rank on Inc. 5000? Oh my God. I didn't even get through the question. I needed to ask better. All right, Jack, watch out. My dog's very excited for this. He's trying to jump up. Okay, let me see. Oh my goodness. You guys, this is amazing. I'm trying to scroll to the top. Mike D with an 18%. Yes, but it wasn't percent. It was 18, number 18. We'll give it to you, Mike D. Close enough. All right, you guys. Awesome. Mike D will be in touch with you. Hopefully, Kelsey or Trevor can get your email to make sure we don't have multiple Mike Ds on the call. But Mike, you are the winner. Congratulations of winning 100 free days of Super Coffee. But just because everybody else didn't win, you guys are getting a promo code only for people who attended live from your laptop. BOGO. So Super Coffee is giving a buy one, get one free up until midnight tonight. So you got to get on their website, got to use the promo code and get yourself some Super Coffee so you can add some whiskey, drink it in the morning, supercharge your energy for 2021. So great. Awesome. Let me find my notes. Okay. So huge thanks, you guys. Thank you to Super Coffee. Thank you to Lunar Solar Group. You guys are awesome. We love you. We're so excited to be on this journey with you. This show would definitely not be what it is without all of you listening in. Thank you so much for being a part of our community and spending an hour with us. We hope you had some fun and learned something along the way too. We hope you can join us again next week for Live from Your Laptop. We have Beard Brand on. Now this is going to be interesting because I don't have a beard. We're working on the activity now. I think we're going to talk about beards so that like, say if you have like a partner who has a beard, you can help them out a little bit. But Eric, the founder of Beard Brand, and Mike, their copywriter, are coming on the show. It's going to be a riot of a time. They are hilarious. And Eric has been in the space for a very long time. He is so knowledgeable in the D2C space, and he's got a ton of advice to share. They've also been Klaviyo customers for quite some time now, so they've got some good stuff. So lastly, you guys are going to get an email from us after this with some stuff, so look out for that. And we have a brand new community forum. We hope you guys can hop over to after and join to continue the conversation and get some of your Klaviyo questions answered in the Klaviyo community forum. I'll send a link to that in the email. Until next time, you guys, have a super great rest of your week, and thanks for coming to live.